well, I guess we could start now because everyone has life to get to. Last week we had a really good episode. I haven't done the edits yet. I've been lazy, but we're gonna get to it anyway. But throughout the whole time, real quick, because Nicole was pretty much new here. Can you introduce yourself, who you are, Nicole Michael, please? Real quick. Your overseas career, high school career. You don't know Miss Davis. I know that you guys might have spoke before, but the world don't know that.
You're right. All right, so I'm Nicole Michael. I played at Syracuse University. After Syracuse, I went overseas. I played overseas for about 8 seasons. What else you asked? I'm sorry.
You currently work at a high school.
I'm currently a teacher. I'm currently a physical education teacher at a prep school in New York City, Manhattan. And yeah, that's about it. I'm a first-time mom. Just became a mom, so that's super challenging. That's about it.
That is about it. Yep. and you run the Slinky Academy, which does a lot of basketball training.
Correct.
You also have a high school tournament here in New York City that has some of the top six.
Just started. Yep.
Just started last year, the first year. So that's about it. Yeah. So we brought on Ms. Davis today. She's here also. She's graduated. She's going to tell you more about who she is and what her initiative is, because she's doing something different than we've been speaking about. Remember, we spoke about talking about the overseas life and stuff and how hard it is, particularly because everybody here, for the most part, except for Ms. Layne, is going on. Oh no, Ms. Layne, everybody went overseas except for me. Mexico doesn't.
What? Get it right. Brazil, baby, Brazil.
In my case, Mexico and Canada don't count as overseas. That's like crossing a bridge. But she's going to talk to you guys about the overseas stuff, particularly Kollyns, because Kollyns is still trying to pursue those type of if it presents itself. The floor is yours, Ms. Davis. Go.
Cool. So yeah, I'm Jori Davis. I'm originally from New Orleans. Started the expat lifestyle, as I call it, when I was young. I went to England. Played my first freshman year of high school overseas in London, England. Then moved up to Rochester, New York. Finished high school. Went to Indiana University, and from there I was drafted. Got cut ASAP, and started my overseas journey. I'm going into my 10th season playing overseas. I just finished up in Italy this past season, and basically everything I went through, my whole journey, the lack of mentorship. I guess I call myself the little emotional one, but I felt there was a real lack of mentorship, no community, a lot of deception, not amongst even the business leaders, but also ourselves. And I decided we needed to do something about it, and it would take those that have that open mind, those that can see where we're failing, and getting those people together first, and then go and attack all the other issues that we have. And that's why I created We Evolve, which stands for We Evolve, as in the athletes, because we got to change, just as us as a people in general, what we're going through right now. We still have to assimilate, we still have to be united to create change. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I've been working on while still playing and trying to make the connections with the right people, not necessarily any and every athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which is great, because I know that Nicole did 8 to 9 years across the water. Did you guys that were overseas, did you guys see any type of community amongst Americans, particularly those that look like us, color-wise, as far as coming together and like a fake union of some sort? Nicole?
Do you mean in terms of like the athletes?
Yeah.
That are the American athletes? It all depends on the country that you're in, the city that you're in. If it's multiple teams that has multiple Americans. I can say when I played in Spain, there were a few teams that were close by. So the Americans that were on those teams, we always hung out. So we always connected. We always stayed together. We were like a small family. So I think that is very common overseas. If you're in a community, especially Israel, I know Israel is a country where a lot of teams are close by. So Americans, they do tend to just attach with one another and just hang out with one another. I mean, because that's our comfort zone. So right. Yeah, it's very common.
How about you, Colin? Because you was in Ireland, which is probably one of the smaller of the basketball communities. How was that for an American?
Yeah, I think it would be similar to how Slinks described Israel. Like, it's very small, so the community, especially with American basketball players, we all knew each other. Plus, like I said, in one of the other video chats, I program. So, and the program brings over like 22 plus scholars. So we're probably almost like half of the percentage of American players that are over in Ireland. So we already know each other because we come through and we'll do basically kind of like a camp setup where like the first we come early and we'll get to meet each other and stuff like that and talk. So you bond over that little session. So when we spread out all over Ireland, we still stay in communication and we still know each other. And then we just bring in like other Americans you see playing on like you'll play against them that might not be a part of the program. You'll see them so much because it's so small that eventually you develop a relationship with them. So plus Ireland, they're naturally a friendly people. So everybody's nice and everybody. So I enjoyed my time in Ireland.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Layne, how about yourself in your time in overseas?
It definitely, there was camaraderie when we played against other Brazilian teams that had Americans on the team. When I played, Val Whiting was playing, Jackie Nero. I don't know if you guys remember those names, because we're talking about almost 20 years ago. So like a dinosaur. But yeah, I mean, you know, everybody's looking for some sort of connection when you're over there, right? If you're fortunate enough to be in a positive environment, like Colin was saying, where your fans really, you know, support and embrace the fact that you're an American and an outsider, but they are welcoming to you, that's great, but that's not always the case. My problem was the teams weren't close enough to really form a bond, so we really only saw each other when we played against each other. But I was also fortunate enough that the girls on the team in Brazil, you know, there's a strong Afro-centric, Brazilian community. And just so happened that quite a few girls on the team were like of strong African descent. So that was a good thing, because you guys all have experience and know what it is with the differences between color tones and how people are interpreted and how people are treated based on what color they are. And, you know, that plays right into sports as well.
Yeah.
So we had a balanced team in terms of like the racial tone. What I found was interesting was when I was over there, they're paying for myself, and I had another young lady from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, on the team with me. They're paying for us specifically to come, and we're bringing something a whole lot different to the table than the girls that were homegrown, yet they wanted to play the homegrown youngsters over the powerful veterans. What are you paying us for? What'd you bring us in for?
Right.
The war. Like, I don't know if it was the coaches proving the point, but like you're working against yourself for the fact that you're paying for somebody to play. I don't know who they had to appease, but that was definitely an issue.
Which is a good segue before we get to Miss Tatum, is because I know that Miss Davis, she, although you guys were cool with one another as far as socially is concerned, did you guys ever think about coming together as a unit financially, and also where you could go to these different teams and create like a unified front, like speak on behalf? I know that that's something Ms. Davis is leaning towards. Can you speak upon that, Ms. Davis?
Well, just to touch upon the different, how we're united overseas right now, and, you know, from my experience, yeah, I played in Israel as well, and we kicked it. We had fun. There was people like Gio Perkins during the time. Lynette Pearson was there during that time that I was there. I was a rookie, and yeah, they were right there. We all kicked it. We had fun. I think the part that I feel that's lacking is the substance. Yeah, we're around, but are we talking about what we investing in? Are we talking about how we can go get a rental property together in Portugal, because the value is so down that we probably could execute something like that. That's the substance I'm talking about. When we back home and, you know, somebody is from, I don't know, a certain town, but they need camps done. Okay, how can we collab and 3 girls go to this town and we make something powerful? Like, okay, New York City, you guys have a lot of great ballers from New York City, everybody doing camps. So it's something that maybe you don't think about because everybody doing that there. But around the globe, there's stuff that we could be doing. There's people that are taking advantage of camps in Africa that have never played, that don't have the resumes we do. Why aren't we collabing and doing something like that? That's the type of community I think we do not have. We're all trying to build separately and use our resources separately and not really build anything in power. So when I talk about community and a network, that's what I'm referring to. We just have to start in a different way. To talk about your question, I forgot your question at first because I was trying to answer the other one.
Don't worry about it.
Next part.
Don't worry about it. We'll come back there to hit me because I forgot it my damn self. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But I want to introduce two people that just checked in. I have Amani Tatum. Did I say it correctly this time?
I appreciate that so much. It's been like 10 years.
And then we also have Vanessa, the old, strong, powerful vet. Briefly, because everyone doesn't know who you guys are. Ms. Tatum, can you tell them exactly who you are quickly and what you're currently doing and what did you do when you played basketball?
You see, my name is Amani Tatum. I went to JMU my freshman year, James Madison University, and then after that, I transferred. Sorry.
You got the ice cream truck line.
After I transferred from JMU, I went to Manhattan College and finished out my career there. I did have overseas aspirations, but I ended up kind of picking a different path that I thought would be beneficial to me in like my future and my career and what I want to do. So right now I'm athletic advising in hopes to be in part of like HEOP or like one of those first generation type of programs. And my ultimate goal is probably like director of program, kind of running stuff like that. I like helping those kids that don't really get into college and they get filtered out into these programs and make sure that they get through and have 4 years and have the support that they need. So that's where I am right now. And right now I'm doing athletics because I didn't want to leave athletics. So I'm kind of still in between. I get to travel with the teams. I was on the women's basketball team, so like advising them now is kind of cool because I get to see things on both sides of the spectrum. So I think that is probably the most rewarding thing for me. But yep, that's me. That's my spiel.
Thank you, Ms. Tatum. Vanessa, can you speak about briefly who you are? And yeah.
Well, I think I basically know everyone on here. Hi, Jori. Nice to see
What's
you. But yeah, 13 years, completed 13 years pro. I graduated from Hofstra, played for Connecticut Suns and Minnesota Lynx. And now I'm just the CEO of These Hoops, which is a training organization in Stamford, Connecticut. And I'm just building on that and have a few more things that I want to do in life. I'm looking to retire soon, so looking for some big things. So these seminars are really helpful for me as well. So nice to see y'all again.
Thank you. Nicole and Vanessa go way back. Yeah.
Nicole, my love.
Now the irony is that everyone here, at least not everyone, at least Nicole and Vanessa have their own basketball training company. I know that a couple of people that just graduated recently from New York City area just started their own basketball training company. Is that, do you guys feel like that's a viable career? Granted, I do that for a living. Do you think that's a viable career long term? Vanessa or Nicole?
I can say something. I think it is. My goal in having a camp or a training company is to really give back to the younger athletes. They need role models. I mean, they need us. They need those that has been there, been through the experience. So I think me opening up and starting a company really helps them, to get that information from me, whatever information they need about moving forward and what they want to do, especially if it's playing basketball in college, or some of them might not even play basketball after their youth, but just, just having that motivation from me and being able to talk to them and give them certain advice. I think that's important. I think that's kind of the main reason why I started it. So, yeah.
I agree. Vanessa?
I agree with everything that Nicole said. It's fulfilling. It's more so fulfilling than I think I look at it more so fulfilling than profitable all the time, because it's just like being able to see a younger generation and be able to put what someone had invested in me into someone else. It's everything to me. So that's really why I started it. And I think that it's grown. However, I feel like there's so many things that we can do, so many more things that we can do. So I'm trying to just add on to try to get kids in college, kids overseas, you know, all that stuff. Because when you do basketball camps, you do run into players that aren't so passionate about basketball. And sorry, but that really kills me because I am so passionate about ball. So it's like, especially being in Connecticut, you get those rich white kids that just want to come to camp and sit down. And I'm not really into that. I'd rather you take your money and go somewhere else instead of basically wasting my time. So I train kids and I'm into basketball because of the passion and the fulfillment that it gives me. So, yeah.
Coaching. Kollyns, can you speak about coaching? Because your goal is to be a coach. And I know that two people over here are also currently coaching. One's doing youth. They both are doing youth. Donna and also Tatum are doing youth basketball. Kollyns, what is your aspirations with coaching and why coaching?
Yeah, like I talked about it a little bit before, last time, that I do want to get into coaching and at some level. I said before, like more so the middle school level and stuff like that, because that's where I felt I could be the impact, but we discussed it and we came to like, it was good to hear people talk about like you can make an impact at whatever level if you're passionate about it. And like Vanessa was saying, that's what I want to develop kids, and I want to pretty much give back what someone gave to me, that passion for basketball. And so I definitely understand the frustration when you come across kids that like don't have that passion. So yeah, that's pretty much what I want to do. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me where I start or how I get there. At the end of the day, I just want to make sure before I leave this world, I make an impact on someone and, you know, can basically give someone the gift that someone else gave me, I guess.
Wow, that's a great soundbite right there. That may lead off the podcast.
I don't know if that answered your question. I hope it does.
That was a teaser right there. Tatum, real quick. Yeah, go. Yeah, there you go.
I really enjoy coaching my little kid girls. I mean, similar to Vanessa, for me, it's just the money. I coach little white Jewish kids. They don't care about anything. I had a little girl leave in the middle of
They do care. It's just they have a different care level.
Nah, they dead don't care. I had one girl leave in the middle of the no, they don't care. Is their parents get like, they just need the parents need them to do something. While some kids are passionate about it, I have other kids who are really just like, hey, Coach Amani, I'm happy to see you again. And we stare at each other. It all depends, but like you do have those kids where I have really impacted, and like they'll call me, like they called me yesterday, just show me like, oh, look what I could do. So that's the rewarding part. I would not coach on the college level, and I'll definitely coach on the high school level. Those are my I definitely would probably never ever coach in college. I feel really strongly about that.
Smart. Miss Layne, before we get to Miss Davis regarding her, the other side of across the water, Miss Layne?
Yeah.
Question. Why are you coaching?
What, I don't know, what do you want me to answer?
Why are you coaching? In addition to your daughter being 6'12" and very athletic, why are you coaching?
It's just a pure passion of it. I'm at this very particular moment, I am not in a full-fledged coaching position, but I am always behind the scenes, moving pieces or impacting decisions or impacting the coaching effect. With my daughter's high school team, I've taken it upon myself to take certain kids that I have identified that have the potential but might not have the self-esteem or the confidence One young lady was a junior last year. She's probably about 5'11", 6 feet, solid girl. And it was like a little delicate flower. And I took it upon myself to take her under my wing and just build her up her self-esteem. I would take her with my daughter to a 7th, 8th grade practice, and she's like, oh my God, like she couldn't believe like how physical these other kids were. And I don't know if it was like her upbringing or, just some kids are just like quiet, to themselves, but they want to participate and they want to achieve certain things, but don't necessarily know how to go about bringing it out and afraid of failing. And I could see that within her. So nobody asked me to. I didn't know her parents. I bonded with the kids. I bet you she was had a huge impact on the season this year as a junior, and we'll be looking to step into a starting role as a senior next year. It's just, like Vanessa said, the passion for the game, wanting to see kids do better. Sometimes I speak to kids I don't even know. I'll be at a game. It's like you can't turn coaching off if that's in you.
Right.
So it to me, it's all about wanting. Sometimes it's frustrating because sometimes I feel like I want more for the kids than they want for themselves.
Yeah, that's what Vanessa's saying.
That's the crazy part. Like you see it in them, and it's like for whatever reason, either they don't see it or they don't care. Because everybody's driven by a different motor. But if I see it, I'm drawn to it. I can't help myself. I'm drawn to it, and I will go out of my way to make things happen. To work out with the kid, make sure they get it linked up to the right team, or talking with the coaches all the time, figuring out how to move pieces around, or recruiting for so at this very moment, it's not in an official capacity, but it's always happening for me.
So let me ask this question. This ties back to what Ms. Davis is saying. What if we took all of this collective, there's probably 1,000 years of experience in basketball, and came underneath one roof, and we became a consortium of some sort? Excuse me. A consortium. We have V-Hoops, we have Slinky Academy, we have Team Footprints, we have Donna's experience, we have Amani's experience, and Kyle's experience, and we created one synergy. Is that something that you're trying to do, Ms. Davis, as far as creating the fist as composed to a finger, whatever the phrase is, a hand, whatever the phrase is? Is that something like that?
When we talk about what I would love for Wevolve to be, I would love for it to be the source. So when you have an individual, and again, I thought about this because of my own personal struggle. When you have an individual that's looking for certain things, looking for mentorship or looking for that trainer, maybe they don't come again from a New York City where it's like, boom, somebody at a gym used to hoop and you have access. But when you come from far removed from that atmosphere, you're looking, and there's no real source to look for that. You only can say some AAU coach, we don't know if he's legit or really for you, or maybe he got somebody he working with in the business, so he's throw you there. He gets you a new handler. You get thrown away and you don't get connected to the real mentor. That one that has gone through it, but now they coaching, or now they're doing this, or they're doing this. There's no validated way to find what you need, and that's what I believe needs to be built. And that's kind of what I try to figure out, but again, it's not easy. Like, for real, people have their own brands and people have their own thoughts, but sometimes group economics or unified economics is something that people don't really see the power in, and it's real. The people that don't look like us maximize that opportunity clearly.
So if I had a situation where I have a 9-year-old, or Nicole's child right there, he or she can get training from Slinky, Nicole, and then coached by Kollyns, mentored by Donna, taught on the middle school level by Ms. Tatum, overseas experience in Vanessa, and then overseas experience from Ms. Davis, and that would be we would have him or her, obviously, track all the way through, and not necessarily underneath our control, but on the right path, because you have experienced people in those positions. That's something that you can see feasible, Vanessa?
Well, I've spoken to Jori a few times about what she's doing, and I think it's great. I think that like you said, the power of unity is really stronger, especially when you have knowledgeable people working together. We have a lot of people hiring us to do the jobs that we ourselves are capable of doing as a team. So I definitely like what she's doing, and I think that it's definitely a great idea as far as.
I fired her. It's me at the top now, and no, just joking, just joking. But you're right, though, Vanessa. You're right. I'm sorry. I had to throw that in there. We're good. Continue.
I don't know if I answered your question, but I definitely am familiar with her brand and what she's doing, and I think it's a great idea. I don't want to bring race into it, but I mean, a lot of times we get stuck working for the white man and not, amongst ourselves. And I think that what she's creating is pretty much a unity of like athletes that are able to give the service of what, we usually work under someone and they tell us to go give the service to someone that we already know what we're doing, So, yeah, I like it.
How many female agents do you guys know? Anyone here? Feel free to chime in.
I lost count. Sorry. I don't know.
Yeah, Black female. I just know Stephanie Stanley's still out there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Stephanie, that was my agent. And then I know a young lady that I went to school with at NYU, Erica McKeon. She worked for Bruce Levy Associates.
Slinky.
Yeah, I could probably count on one hand.
Vanessa.
You're talking about Black?
Yeah. Get back to me. Get back to me.
Yeah.
Kollyns, Kollyns,
Yeah.
who helped you with? I know that was through your school and the conference, but who helped you get to Ireland? Was a program, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know any Black female agents. The lady that did help me get to the program, outside of like my teammates and my coaches, was a lady that kind of is in a similar role to Amani. She kind of works with the team, but on like kind of like a mentor academic level, if I kind of got what Amani does, right? But she's helped me with that. So I was lucky to have her, but no agents, no. Don't know any, sorry.
So Nicole, when you got overseas, who did you go to for mentorship and also advice on certain things?
So I'm gonna say two things. First, I went to my college coach, which probably wasn't the best idea. I probably should have went to the players that I know that graduated before me and that experienced playing overseas and had experience with agents. I probably should have went to them. I feel like that is the best option. I also mentioned in the last meeting that we had, agents look for you. I mean, if you had an awesome college career, most of the time they look for you. They message you. They find ways to get in contact with you. But finding out about genuine agents is usually through the players that have already played before you. And they usually have that information, and they can really help you finding the best or genuine agent.
Yeah, if I can ask a question.
Sure.
I mean, I know, we getting up there, we getting in our wisdom years, but if you can recall just the emotion of why, even though you knew people that came before you, why you still went to him? Or I'm assuming Q was still your coach. Was Q your coach, correct?
Why I still went to my coach?
Yeah.
Back then, that's all I knew. That was my first instinct to go to my coach because I had that much trust in my coach. And my initial thought was my coach was going to help me after basketball, after the 4 years at the university. But I don't want to say nothing bad about him, but that wasn't really the case. So I think it would have been better off for me to speak to those experienced players. For example, I went to Syracuse, so to speak to the Julie McBrides or the Felicia Legits, I think that would have been a better option. But back then, all I knew was my coach. That's who I trusted. That's who I invested my 4 years into to teach me how to become a better player and a better person in life. So I trusted that person to help me make my decision after college.
Amani, who did you when you graduated and you did that? Who did you get your advice for, your mentorship from, as far as the next route to go?
Just a number of people. So I'm still really close with my athletic advisor at JMU. So she was kind of probably my first person. Like, she reminds me a lot of myself, and just speaking with her, we got really close. So I left JMU, and 5 years later, we still speak to this day. So she was probably one of my first or second phone calls. And then just people at my school, not my coaches. I had a woman that I was working for while I was in undergrad, and she was the one who kind of helped me as well. Coaches, I'm not gonna give them all that credit. I mean, they were cool. I had a lot of different coaching changes while in my college career, so probably like three different head coaches. I never had an assistant stay consistently for more than 1 year. So there was a lot of coaches that I am close with and that I do connect with, but I'm kind of have a lot of people that are supportive everywhere. So if I say those two people, for sure. So who's currently my boss right now, and then my old athletic advisor.
Ms. Davis, anything you want to add on that before I go to Vanessa?
No, I mean, I think, again, all the pointers are spot on when it comes to just the coaches. Again, everything I feel starts with us. That's everything I'm trying to build. I've identified that the business cycle goes some AAU, EYBL, the recruiter, coach, agent, pro team, and we just kind of the product that goes from each one of those. And I don't see many times the mentors being prevalent in that exchange. I don't see the stories. The stories are getting lost because it's not in the best interest of any one of those people I just said in that circle for that truth to come out. And I don't know. I think it's just something that needs to change, so we end up in better positions with better brands, with better businesses when we are done.
Now I'm gonna switch topics real quick. Vanessa, being that you were overseas for a little bit, did anyone at any point speak to you about 401ks or any type of retirement? And also, Ms. Layne, I'll speak to you regarding that also. As far as after you did your 13 years, did you have any investments or anything like that? Or are there any, not to get into your business, but did anybody speak about those type of things to you?
My brothers. Basically, my agents, they are not concerned about what I do with my money. That, like, I was on the impression when I got an agent coming out of college, I was like, okay, agents are supposed to do this and they're going to do this and I can call on them for this and that. That's not the case. I was going to go back to what you were talking about before, actually, because
Sure.
I think that if my college coach kind of like helped me a little bit more to know, like, okay, going into, like, I left school early, went to the Suns, and I didn't have an agent the whole time I was there. I didn't know what was going on. I see people talking to their agent and I'm like, oh, what is that? Like, what are you guys doing? How you got an agent, how I got it, what I have to do to be, because these agents are calling the coaches every day, checking on them in practice, pushing their name, pushing them, like, and obviously I'm from a smaller school and it was kind of by luck that I even got in. But, the fact that I didn't have an agent and didn't know how to go about getting it, and I wasn't informed by anyone how to get it, it really played a big part of how I actually sustained in the WNBA. Like it wasn't, I had no chance to stay very long, So I think that's so important to definitely have that advice. As far as going back to what you said about investing, basically my brother, like, he was in my skin about investing pushed me to open up a Fidelity. And I just started doing my own investing on my, like basically on my own. Like my agent didn't, didn't really inform me about that. And in so doing that, I started informing my friends, like, look, guys, like we don't have nothing being put down for us. Like we got to do it ourselves. So once I start getting educated on how to trade and how to like set up, funds for retirement, I try to lend it off to another athlete, because I know that we're not getting that from nobody. We're not getting it from our agents for sure. So yeah, it's basically, if I didn't have my brother, my skin, pushing me to invest, I would probably not have anything, after basketball, because it's just how who you run into that's going to be able to help you, to guide you in the right direction. So I think young athletes do not know that. And that's why, sorry, I keep talking, but like my younger players that come in as a vet, now I talk to them about these things. I tell them like, look, even if it's $1,000 a year, you just put it in and then you're going to be fine eventually. But there's nobody telling them this. And I see them call, okay, V, how do I set up this Fidelity or something else? Doesn't have to be Fidelity, but it's, probably one of the easiest ones to set up. But yeah, there's no education on that. So that definitely needs to improve.
Ms. Layne, being that you're in the financial or corporate world, when you were overseas in Brazil, no one spoke to you because you're a different generation. You're the OG of the group there.
The beginning, before the WNBA, like before the ABL started. But that's never a topic of discussion. It's all about playing, physical ability, just getting yourself primed to be the best player you can be and hopefully avoid injury. And that's it. Nobody else is talking about anything else outside of basketball.
Wow.
So you're just on your own. Like Vanessa said, if your family is not, knowledgeable enough to guide you in that, or the next closest person to you would be your college coach. But usually after your college stint is done, it's like, hey, how you doing? You good? Okay. But nobody is invested in any information sharing to steady yourself, to build the foundation. It's just all, and so you end up, playing till you can't play anymore, and then just trying to figure it out.
Okay.
For the most part.
Go ahead, Tatum. You jumping. Go.
So that was my biggest apprehension as to why I never wanted to go overseas. I just felt like, I put so much into the game that I feel as though I'm done playing overseas. So let's say I graduated 22, 23. I played overseas for 5 years. How do you say, I feel like you said, how many Vanessas are there in the world? There's not many, how many people like me who want to go overseas, who are not knowledgeable on a lot of stuff, and to just go, and they do play there 5 years. So for me, that was my first thought. That wasn't anything else for me, but am I going to have a sustainable life? Am I going to be able to save a substantial amount? Because there are things that I'm going to want to do. I want to be able to buy a home in a time span. And don't get me wrong, there's a timeline and everyone has their timeline. But I just felt as though all right, yeah, I do play overseas for 5 years. What if I do come back and I don't want to do, and no, that's your path. What if I don't want to coach? Or what if I don't want to be a trainer? Then what? Where am I? And I start not the bottom of the totem pole, but essentially, yeah. And not to say that those people that do start at the bottom of the totem pole, they're not able to excel. But that was probably the biggest reason I didn't go overseas. Just because saving, helping my family was big to me. And I love basketball. I love it with every fiber in me. But it's a bigger picture for me. And I know I'm gonna sound crazy, but the experience wasn't enough for me. I needed more than that. I wanted to be able to do a lot of stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of just like, I don't know. It's like when I say, if I had you and you're like, yo, we could go overseas and you'll be okay. What? You go and make a little chump change and you'll figure it out and you keep going. But this is how you save and this is how you do stuff. Like, I found an agent on my own. I did everything on my own. So when it got to the end and I'm like, all right, am I going to go overseas for whatever that amount was? Or am I going to be home, have a career, start my career, figure out what is I want to do, you know? So that was probably, like I said, why I didn't go overseas. And
yeah, I can see that.
My mom was like, you should have went. Look at you here now, stressing at work. But I'm like, I know what I want to do. You know, like I know what I want to do. I know how I'm going to impact. Like Kollyns, yeah, you're going to impact kids coaching, and I'm impacting my kids in the communities. I'm impacting our student athletes right now. So just different sides of the spectrum. But that was, like I said, my biggest apprehension.
So why are the old heads over there not really looking back to the youngins and helping them out? Anyone?
I don't think it's all old heads. Maybe the ones that were around me. I'm realizing now from talking to certain people and just realizing some of the old heads didn't know. So they couldn't even help me because they didn't know. They were going off just all the smoke, you know. So what they saying about one agent was word of mouth, and they really don't know how the business is being ran or what's really taking place. So I realized that, you know, sometimes they don't know. Sometimes the coaches don't even know because they caught up in the as being the talent as well, just like we are. So they trying to feed an agent because they need that agent to feed them when they need a coaching job. So it's all messed up. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think also because the culture has never been shifted. Nobody's come and said, this is okay for us to do this. And look what will happen if we start to do this and share and talk. Competition, you can't kill it. You know, at the end of the day, it's going to be competition. You know, it's not going to be no kumbaya, blah, blah, blah. But when you talk about co-ops, think about Black Wall Street. They didn't do co-ops. And that's the reason they built that, because everyone decided to say, okay, we're going to collectively do something together and it's going to grow. And that's how it became so powerful. It's simple. Those that have done it successfully came before us. They did it. Now they burnt the shit down, for sure. But I mean, the power of the collective is what's key, in my opinion. And I think the coaches and certain people that are in that business side, they're not the answer. So I think, you know, in my opinion, the old heads that I was around, maybe they just didn't know. Or then sometimes at the same time, not every athlete is for you. Some people are just selfish and they like, I'm gonna get mine, I'm gonna eat, and I'm going about my business, and that's just the reality.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Anyone want to add before I ask a real hard question?
I'm gonna add something for Tatum. I think that everybody get to a point in the, like, I think after college, you were set with a decision to make, to go overseas or to stay. And I think that every person's path is so different. There's so many times, and don't think that this 13 years have been smooth. There is so many times I wanted to quit. There's so many times that I wanted to say, what the hell am I doing? Because your contract is not really a contract. Nicole, if you don't mind me sharing, but Nicole and I got really close because we played in Italy, and Italy basically, you know, used us, used us for our services, and we were out of a lot of money at the end of the season. So, I mean, when I look back at that, I was like, man, what am I doing? Like, this is crazy. I have to walk away from thousands of dollars right now after putting my body on the line. So, like, it's not always, you choose the path that is best for you, I say, for any athlete. But I definitely think that as older players, we need to be able to give the younger generation more detailed advice. not to just say, yeah, it's good, you know, you get to travel. No, it's not about, we need to give you guys more detailed responses so you're able to make a decision based on like the real deal, you know, because when I came out, it was a different kind of game. When I talk about different kind of game, it means like financially for a women's basketball player going overseas, it made a whole lot of sense, you know? We kind of got grandfathered into that kind of salary cap where like, okay, you gain your respect for the years that they were actually playing decent salary, and now they're willing to pay you what you know you're worth. However, for the younger generation coming out these days, it's really hard to say, okay, you play or you don't play, but you do have to give them like the pros and cons of not playing, you know, or playing. But basically, I understand. I 100% understand the decision that you made. And I think that, you know, the paths are different for everyone. And you seem like you're on a great path. So I wish I was there for you a few years ago. But, you know, we're now a collective group, and I'm pretty sure that we're all going to stay pretty connected. And I think what Jori is trying to do is basically what we're doing right now, is just trying to make sure that where the resource is, we are able to find it. With the people with the advice, the people with the experience are able to give those people that are going to be in those same shoes. Like, why not? You're about to walk in my shoes. Why not tell you how it feels? Why not tell you what's the step to take and what not to take? You know, if Nicole and I knew, we would have stopped playing the first month after they were late on our salary, you know? But we said, okay, we're going to fight for this team and, you know, do this. And it didn't work out the way we planned on it. But if someone else had told us their experience and how to go about doing that, it would be a lot easier to go through that process in Italy, you know.
Nicole, you want to add to Vanessa? You're feeding KJ, you're good.
Not to really add, just to pretty much agree on that, 100%. I agree with all of that. Yes, and our situation in Italy was crazy. And like V said, if we knew in the first month that was going to happen, we definitely would have stopped playing. But those situations happen overseas. So, you know, with Amani's decision to not pursue overseas and to really just focus on her career, I think that was actually a great idea. You know, some people, it just doesn't work out for some people overseas. You know what I'm saying? And following your career path as early as you did is an awesome idea, because now you're steps ahead for those that have went overseas and are coming back and now trying to figure out their career now. So you're steps ahead. So that's like, I think that was a great idea what you did. Everyone's, like Vanessa said, everyone's path is different. So yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so we're going to be honest and transparent here. Kollyns, I'm going to ask this for you. I'm asking on your behalf. What is the average salary of players making money across the water? I know it varies depending upon the country. I got that. But on average, what are stories that you've heard? Because I've heard as high as $10,000 a month for young lady players, for women players. But the guys, you know, the guys lie, getting 25 racks a month. Okay, but and then I've also heard as low as $900 a month. Like $900, you might just work for me. You know, I can pay you that, but not now. But still. So what is that's something Kollyns would like to know. What's the highest that you guys have heard as far as salaries are concerned? Jori?
So from my end, I've heard players make $800 a month in like second league Spain and stuff like that. And then I've heard, of course, people in like Korea and China. I've heard like post players get like 130 up
a month.
No, total for the year, 130 or 200. I've heard I haven't heard above that. I don't know, maybe somebody gets more. I know in China per se, I know they get some pretty good money. Of course, the highest I've ever heard was the one that went viral was Diana Taurasi, $1 million.
Not to play.
Yeah. And then, in Turkey, I've heard people get $300K, but they don't get it all. So they get part, then they got to sue, and they still leave with less than that. From my little group of people, we, that medium range, I think those people are kind of the anomalies from what I know, of course, but I think the normal athlete is usually between, I would say, that good level of talent, I say 30 to 70K is like, I think the most, like, kind of that area. But again, I'm a guard. So for the post players, it might be different. So Vanessa and them can talk about that because I know they get.
Hold on a second. Let me go to Miss Layne because inflation might have changed from
20 years ago. Yeah. So when I went to Brazil, I think I was doing $2,500 a month, and I was there for like 6 months. When I came home from Brazil, I was offered a $25K contract to go to either Israel or France, but I was kind of in Amani's shoes. Like, I had my son who was 3 years old at the time. I had just taken a full-time job, where I think my salary was like 42 or something, 20 years ago in 2000. And so I was faced with the dilemma, like, do I give up the full-time job, apartment, benefits, car, like everything I got established right now to go over and play for 6 months for $25K? And then what happens when I come back?
Yeah.
So that's why I didn't go. I stayed home. I played semi-pro. I, tried to play as competitively as I could. I had to try out with the Washington Mystics. That was short-lived. But I stayed with the job and the security versus the travel experience and the playing. I just, tried to keep playing as competitively as I could at home.
How about you, Nicole? As far as the salary range.
Yeah, salary range varies. It depends on the country, depends on the level. I've heard people go over for as little as $800 a month. I've had friends like the Epiphany Princes and the players that played in the WNBA that were making $25K a month. I know some Asian countries, their minimum is $20K a month. It depends. I think on average, I would say probably about from $3K to $12K a month on average.
Shit, that's a big ass average.
From my experience, my knowledge, I was fortunate. I started off to make a good amount of money. But as I started to wear and tear, as my knees started to wear and tear, my salary got less and less and less. So it just all depends on the situation. I know when I was coming out of college, overseas, they were still making some type of money. Like, players were still getting paid good money. I know the economy out there, it's gotten worse. So players are going over there for a lot less money that deserve to make a lot of money. Even some WNBA players are going over there for a lot less than what they're worth. So it's different now.
Vanessa, before I get to Kollyns.
I think that all the ladies have pretty much answered that. I actually had a young lady called me about years ago saying, V, they're offering me $900, do I come? And I said, no, that's not worth it, because it all depends on what your goal is. If you're just trying to get the experience with basketball and, live a life outside of the country, great. But I think that the salary has changed. Like, like I said, coming out, it was a lot. Players were getting a lot more back in the days than they're getting now. And as far as the reason why there's such a huge gap as far as the average is because guards, as opposed to post players, are getting different salaries. So a guard can cap out before a post player. And it's also dependent on, and a post player can cap out before a guard, depending on that guard's background. So it all depends on what you've done in your career. Like I didn't really start making good money until I won championships. So it was like, okay, you know, I was kind of kept getting that call from my agent, like, you still got to prove yourself. You know, you go over there and you prove yourself. Trust me, you're going to be good. And those were some of the times where I was like, hey, I'm really going to quit. This is, you know, not for me. But once, you know, I proved myself, won championship, it was easier for me to say, look, this is what I want, and I'm not going for that. So it all depends on what position that you're in. You're able to ask for more based on a background, you know. And a lot of agents are giving these players bad advice because it's not just about putting up your numbers. Like, not anymore. It's really about putting up your numbers plus what the team does, you know. So, okay, you can't go on a team and not put up numbers and the team wins. You still are going to be in a bad shape for the next season. So if you're putting up your numbers and helping the team win, that's where your salary is going to up. So a lot of people end up staying in that salary range for a little bit until something dramatic happens in their career, like a championship or something like that. And then you see a big jump. Obviously, you got those players that are in the $25,000 a month range, which is like Korea. And earlier in my career, I had opportunity to go to Korea, but there's like a draft. So it's like for a player like me, as a post player, I was going to be entered into that draft, and so was Brittany Griner or one of those guys. So, you know, you have to take your chances. You don't know. You know, it's overseas is so uncertain. So again, Tatum, I think you made a great decision with that, because it is there's a lot of uncertainty with the salary range depending on your experience.
Okay, Kollyns, did that help you out?
Yeah. It's great to get so much different perspective, and it's just, you know, it's like we keep talking about that, you know, comes a time where you kind of make a decision, like, do I continue to play, or do I, you know, start looking for a job and looking for more stability? And I'm just kind of in that realm. But these have been very helpful. So I just keep trying to, every day I keep kind of go back and weigh pros and cons, you know, and stuff like that. But we'll see.
Yeah.
You know?
I would say one thing. Of course, Amani, you made the best decision for you, and I think everybody's decision is going to change about what they want, what their life goals are. But I would say for Kollyns, you know, if you do really enjoy playing, but you're looking at the money, I would say the world is changing. You can make that money, invest, flip it, and also you can be having a job that's virtual. You don't have to be in the office anymore to be working for someone if you decide to work for someone. There's different ways now to make a life and to make a living. That's why expats, that's why that life is so big, because people are figuring that out. So from an athlete perspective, and what I am trying to build to make that easier for the athlete who is overseas is to see the opportunities that are around you, so you can have that security and also enjoy and have fun, and allow you to be a better candidate than anybody who stayed at home. Because someone that can communicate amongst cultures, someone that can navigate and say, oh, I know homie in Ireland. Oh, I know homie in Italy. Oh, you do? We need this connection to do this business and this business. Perfect. That makes you way more valuable. But that's only when we know how to put that on our resumes, you know, when we know how to maximize that opportunity. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, because I think that's what makes this overseas thing make sense. Because if we are just looking at money, like Amani said, it don't make sense. I'm not connecting, I'm not doing nothing. But if we still connected, if we still doing things that's building our resume, it makes us now even more valuable.
Wow, way to end it. Good job. Any other questions before we get up out of here? And KJ needs to be burped. It looks like he's about to get burped. Anything anyone want to add? Ms. Layne, Ms. Vanessa, Ms. Tatum? No one? Good. Let's get out of here. Enjoy your rest of your. Thank you guys. Seriously, thank you. Appreciate you guys.
y'all.
It was nice
Appreciate
meeting
All
you.
right, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Be safe.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you guys.
Kollyns, what's up? Come see me, man. You right up the block.
That's true. You gotta live around the corner.
Jori, you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook.
Thank you,
I don't be on Facebook that much, but I'm on Instagram and everything else. You can find me somewhere.
See, that's the age difference. You see how she went straight to Facebook?
Man, you making me feel bad, man. You making me feel great. I got to try to hide my grades and stuff. You making me feel bad.
Facebook.
No, I got grades in my dreads. I'm already getting there, but no.
Oh my God, that was funny.
What's the age? What's the ages here so far?
I'm
Jori,
49.
You're 49. I'm 48. Jori
31.
and Amani,
25.
25.
Yeah, I just turned 25, yeah.
Wow. And Vanessa.
I'm
Come
30.
on, Vanessa.
No. I'm turning 35 actually in a couple weeks, July 1st. So
Okay.
yeah.
And Kollyns.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Kollyns, the baby of the crew.
Yeah.
How old is Kollyns?
24.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Kollyns, I need to get with you and talk about if you need any advice on decision making and the pros and cons of the life. If you're in a middle patch where you need to make a decision and you have any personal questions, please feel free. I think Mark has the number of everybody, but you're able to pass my number on to Kollyns, please, if you need any more advice on that. For
It's
sure.
done. I just
Yeah, I definitely need to get, I'm just kind of in that, yeah, like I said, I'm in that middle realm, just trying, but these have been so helpful. Like, so yeah, thank you to everybody, Mark, for setting this up, because it's just been a lot easier getting all this information. And, you know, we talked about it earlier today. It's hard in like passing. Most of you get little things, but not in-depth information. And so it's been really helpful.
Yeah, if I would have had this like 2 months before graduation, I would have been set.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
for, like, just
Yeah.
having guidance would have been like so beneficial for me. But like Kollyns said, this is super like helpful just to hear, and like, because I advise students, so they're asking me these questions as well, like, hey, what do you think? Like, how do you think about this overseas opportunity? So I'm presented with that. So being here and being able to get some knowledge, and it may not be, it could be men, it could be women, whatever it is just to be able to impart that on others as well. So I do appreciate you guys, and you know, I hope that we could come forward and continue this and excel, and whatever businesses flourish, all that good stuff, you know. But
All that good stuff.
all of it.
shut up, Tatum. All right, Layne, I'm logging off, man. I gotta watch TV or something.
Good luck, guys. See
Later,
ya.
y'all.